Performative cruelty. Evidently, that's the word of the day. And this is coming from a MAGA person, Nick Fuentes. And there's basically just a bunch of infighting and they're turning on Trump. You can see this. Performative cruelty is the perfect phrase to characterize the Trump administration and mood of the MAGA movement. Wow. In order to compensate for his compromises and failures, Trump has to fall back on mean-spiritedness to appeal to the basest instincts of his followers. It's really sad. And my first reaction to this is like, it's really sad when these, right-wing MAGA people who are mean in themselves are calling Trump mean, but this is what you get when you surround yourself with a bunch of mean-spirited people. We wanted no new wars, mass deportations, lower prices, transparency, accountability for them. So, see, he's clearly right-wing. None of that is happening. So instead, we get cheap, increasingly mean-spirited rants, insults, reveling in violence, snarky rage bait on social media. It's going to backfire majorly. And then Jerry replies, "Are you going woke? Because you sound pretty woke up to me." I don't know. And this is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She says, a Canadian-born Zionist Texas senator Ted Cruz has lost his mind over Tucker Carlson. See, they're all fighting each other at the moment. You would think a United States senator would be gravely concerned about affordability for Americans, the looming healthcare crisis, and actually passing appropriations with another government funding deadline coming end of January. But instead, he's gone mad with Tucker living rent-free in his head. They're all infighting. Here's the Nick guy. He has a little bit more to say. Just listen.
Trump is more unpopular maybe than ever. His favorability is in the toilet. His approval is in the toilet. Specifically, his approval on immigration and the economy is very bad. For the first time in years, voters actually favor Democrats on the economy over.
So that's what they're talking about over in right-wing media space, that things are in the toilet. So I don't live in that sphere. I find it comical because it's like, are you now just waking up to this stuff? But who knows? This is where we're at. As long as they wake up sometime, and that's why Jerry's like, hey, are you woke now? John writes, and this is coming from Politico, we talked about this before, a new 46% of Americans say the cost of living in the U.S. is the worst they can ever remember it being, including 37% of Trump voters, right? They also say the affordable crisis is Trump's responsibility, with 46% saying he's responsible for the higher cost. So basically, nearly half the people are saying this is the worst it's ever been in USA. It's something that really stuck out to me all week. It's something I've been thinking about and why I'm going with you guys. And I got to show you this one also. This says, ladies are updating their dating expectations for 2026. So this reflects the culture that we're in right now. And we'll pause it here for a minute as you see. So this is the original list, and she's going to change it in a minute here. She says, emotionally intelligent and consistent. These are, again, women want from men. Financially stable and ambitious. Takes care of his health, gentle, respectful communicator, has direction and long-term goals, makes time and real effort, loyal without question. Okay, so that's the original list, but now we're updating it for 2026. So let's see how it changes, and you gotta get the joke. Now we're switching it to has a job, any job. 2, pays his own phone bill. I guess these are the lowered expectations. Can't afford his own groceries. Now we're going with knows how to use deodorant, replies within, 24 hours, okay? Doesn't disappear for 3 days straight, okay? And is not emotionally terrifying. So that's the joke, though, if you get the joke of this, is that, for the woman's perspective, they can't find a decent guy to date. I mean, can you just find any guy that's got a job? Now, this may be funny and stuff like that, but this does reflect sort of where we're at. There's this picture going around social media and someone saying that this is like a food line. Whether or not it is, it was posted on Reddit, so you can't verify this kind of stuff. But the thing is that why it's important is that we're in a year where we've actually seen this stuff on the news. So when someone says, hey, this is like the longest, food bank that we've ever seen, it's a local church, it kind of fits with what we've been seeing already, right? So I wouldn't be shocked if this ends up to be true. We're seeing it all the time, and that's where we're at. And that's why I showed you the dating thing. Or, when people actually try to tell the truth, the Trump people get upset. So, for example, this is Peter Schiff. He's another right-wing person. It says here, President Trump called me a loser, a jerk, and a Trump hater for telling the Fox audience the truth about rising costs of living. Biden had a lot of help in causing the, quote, affordability crisis, including from Trump during his first term, and he's not fixing it. He's making it worse. Basically, what's going on, and you can see whatever you want to look at, be it Trump or his MAGA people. Everyone's just playing the blame game in USA, and the biggest problem, honestly, is just people don't have real discussions about this stuff. You have to take one side or the other of the fence. There's going to be truth out there. So, for example, go to the store, see the cost of things for yourself. It's like literally you will know exactly your situation. Like you can go to the store and you can see, go look at the housing market in your neighborhood. You can see what stuff costs. I see from many people in our community say, hey, I applied for several jobs for a year. It's really tough out there. Like you know your own situation. And I think, in my opinion, regardless, left, right, whatever you want to call this stuff, just be honest with people, listen to other people, hear their experiences.
I just want to know, why exactly is it that as we have advanced as a civilization, become more wealthy, why has the quality of everything gone down? And prices have just gone up, but why has the quality of everything gone down? Everything. Take clothing, for example.
And so she uses an example of clothes, but the point, though, is she's trying to make is that everything costs more, but the quality seems to be down on everything. And it's interesting because I think there's a lot of people who share that sentiment in the USA. It's a complicated, I'll say this, it's a complicated discussion, but one of the cultural things that I've noticed myself is everything's driven by profits, essentially. And the easiest way to describe it is, say you go to a restaurant or you buy a product, and the idea is that you could call it shrinkflation. They charge you more and you get less, right? You go to the restaurant, the burger used to be, for example, say a quarter pounder, now it's like 1/20th pounder or whatever. Like, so smaller burger, charge you more, that kind of stuff. Or they used to give you more fries than they did, that that kind of thing. Or the Coke is smaller. Or you buy the bag of potato chips and the bag is actually bigger, the bag itself, but then you actually open the bag and it's all air. I think a lot of people feel that. And on top of that, which is really interesting, and I've noticed also a shift in our comments to where people in Europe or people in Canada, Australia, wherever you're watching from, like feel a real sense of pride of like, wow, USA is like things are bad all around the world and for different reasons, but at least we're not USA. A lot of people have been saying that these days. It's interesting seeing it. And I've been noticing actually really pro-European stuff lately also. Never been this proud to be European. And if you're in Europe right now, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. If you feel this way when you see America melt down. And also lately, EU fined Elon Musk and his, bros have been melting down also. When the EU fined Musk, the entire online ecosystem lit up. Right-wing influencers, Kremlin-aligned accounts, podcasters, grifters, and bot networks. Not a coincidence, a coordinated narrative machine. Now, what's interesting is I just told you that, MAGA is infighting these kind of things, but that's actually with real people. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's a real person. The Nick Fuentes guy is a real person. But oftentimes the things that you see with Elon Musk and all of these like weird bot accounts may not necessarily be real people, or they could be employees, or just, which word do I say it, like total cult sycophants that actually don't believe anything. They just agree with whatever Elon Musk says so they can get promoted on Musk's platform. And I have noticed that kind of stuff. And when you look at some of the stuff that Musk is saying, he complains about free speech, blah, blah, blah. But the truth is out there if you want to see it. So for example, this says here, you can be a sheep, right? And accept Elon Musk's groundless claim that the EU is attacking free speech, or you can try to understand why the EU is fining Twitter. It is not an attack on free speech. And then he lists the different things. So it's the deceptive blue checkmark system, inadequate advertising repository, and then restricted data access for researchers, and it breaks it down by there. There's any number of things that you can talk about, but basic gist of it is how many bots are on your platform? Are you manipulating the algorithm? Who's paying for advertising to boost certain kinds of things? And everyone's going to have, and every country's going to have different regulations on this stuff. I could talk about any number of things. For me, I'm focused on, say, consumer protection. U.S. and Russia officials participated in a coordinated attack on Europe We saw thousands of bots spread disinformation and terrorist rhetoric across the European Union, right? That kind of stuff. Or here's another one. This person says, hey, Elon Musk, I think it backfired. And what it was is basically sharing like all these people are posting EU flags on the platform. Because remember, Elon Musk was saying you should disband the EU. I hate the EU, that kind of stuff, right? And it's actually backfired. You see more pride in EU. Another person writes, I generally do not understand how CEOs of American social media companies and their supporters can express so much passion about free speech infringements in Europe, but not say a word about censorship in Russia, where many of their companies are banned. Some say it's all about money, but these companies aren't making any money in Russia. Is it just loyalty to Trump, admiration of autocracy? What are your theories? I honestly don't get it. Another thing you could bring up as well, Elon Musk will never, ever, ever criticize China. They never criticize China in human rights or free speech, these kind of things. And so that's why you can clearly see that Elon Musk is full of crap if he doesn't say anything. He only complains about Europe or comes about USA, but doesn't criticize Russia or China. And then this person writes, middle class jobs are gone. CEOs used to make 20 times a worker. Now they make 300 times. Workers put in 70 hours weeks and still qualify for poverty. You didn't fail. The labor market collapsed around you. And I think a lot of people feel like this, right? Essentially, I keep telling you guys, we're looking at a K-shaped economy. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. And my opinion on any of these things, as we talk about several times on the channel, is if you want a successful society, you got to come up with something that is sustainable. Not just build a society that only the billionaires profit. You want to come up with something that like, hey, how can we, figure out how we can live along together, right? Build a society that works for just your average person, and vote for leaders who actually understand your particular, predicament. And it's always been strange for me with the MAGA movement or, right wingers or whatever you want to call these people, where they worship Musk and Trump, who, are in the billionaire class, born wealthy, have no idea what a regular person's problem is whatsoever, like completely disconnected. And I think the more that we get back to just like understanding what a regular person's problem is, we'll get, to solving actual real people's problems. So that's why I go through, multiple viewpoints every day with you guys, and also look at a global perspective, because there are other systems and methods of living out there other than the USA. So I do appreciate your time, everyone. I'd like to hear your thoughts, and I'll catch you all in the next video.